Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, June 22nd, 2017. My name is Rich, and here to join me once again covering the San Antonio Qualifiers is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good, man. Finally, I can watch an episode where I don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited. And, oh, dude, it's 107 degrees out here. I am dying. And I know they just recorded the finals in Vegas. And from what I read, it's like 114 degrees out there. Like, that is brutal.
Yeah, I know they record at night specifically to avoid that kind of heat.
That's not going to make much of a difference, dude.
No.
Summer, Vegas, it's going to be like in the good 90s out there at nighttime.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for anyone not used to the weather, and I don't think anyone's used to that weather, so it's going to be, our hearts go out to the ninjas that are in Vegas.
Yeah, I feel for them. Especially, like, could you imagine you work all year, like, so hard, and then you make it to stage 3, and, like, everything's dependent on grip, and just you're covered in sweat going on through, like, all those obstacles. I mean, that's going to be really, really tough, so that's going to be a huge X factor when it comes to us watching the finale. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, who was it? I feel like it was Jessie Graff that mentioned that she actually feels bad for the crew because they have to work in that heat through the daytime getting everything ready, and that is brutal on them, too.
Yeah, good point. Not just that. I mean, you're talking about like metal structures and everything, and that sun. I mean, those are going to get very hot to the point where they can burn skin. Now, obviously, they're probably wearing gloves and stuff, but that's got to be very hot and somewhat kind of dangerous. I'm curious how they handle all that.
Yeah. So, as far as this episode goes,
what was that? yeah.
Let's move on.
San Antonio
was amazing. I love this episode. It was great.
It was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it was like top level fantastic, but I found it really enjoyable. I found some runs really, really compelling, dude. But there was some fluff that I really could have done without. And yeah, I'm going to start a new segment. This Rich doesn't really know about this, guys, but every vignette we do now, Rich, we can just start it out with just saying whether we think we should, whether it's needed, whether it can be shortened, whether it's not needed, or if it's ultimate, just dreadful, awful. You can say it's horsehabs level, where it gets the shame bell.
All right, we'll give that a try for this episode. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. So right off the bat, we had. Oh, sorry. As far as the actual obstacles we had the floating steps, the TikTok was back, spinning bridge, which we've never seen in a qualifier before, sky hooks, which was new, pipe fitter, and the warped wall. So I gotta say, sky hooks, 2 huge thumbs up. I loved that obstacle.
I loved it, and this whole course really is a huge thumbs up. I found this course way harder than the LA one in my personal opinion, but I mean I didn't run them, so who knows, but I kind of feel like this is a much more difficult course. There's a lot of X factors. I mean, that spinning bridge, that looks terrible, like terrifying in itself. And yeah, as you said too, man, those hooks, those sky hooks, those are brutal, especially for people with short wingspans. You know, I felt bad for Kacy Catanzaro and all the shorter competitors that have to do it. And I'll get into it later when it comes up, but there's a reason why it's going to be way more difficult on somebody that has a shorter wingspan.
Yeah. And a couple of the other ones were good. I always liked TikTok. I thought that was a pretty good obstacle, and pipe fitters another good one. Really, like you said, difficult obstacles. I feel like they did get the harder course for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the actual runs. We had, right off the bat, Rhinal Garvaccio, I have no idea if I said that right, part of the 210 duo. They seemed to hype up quite a bit at the beginning. He looked pretty good. The crowd was going nuts, apparently. I think they might have amped that up a little bit more than it was by the looks of it. But he ended up whiffing on the sky hooks. He was looking strong at that point, and he just outright missed it.
Yeah, knocked out his glasses too. But really, the only thing that really stood out to me in this particular run was the people on the side, the people that came with him, and how much they did hype up the crowd. I really appreciate that. I love it when the people on the sideline are part of the run itself and really amp up, just boosts up the energy, the overall energy and excitement around. I appreciated that. But other than that, I mean, it's the first run. I guess, I don't know. I never expect much from them, so.
The order matters so much. You never, like, he didn't take the course and we were going like, oh, he's going to make it up the warped wall. I was like, okay, so he falls early. Where is it going to be at? You know, the Skyhooks is actually further than you would normally expect him to get.
Yeah, I at least appreciate the fact that they didn't give him like a 2-minute vignette, like for no reason. So I'm cool with it.
So next we had Katie Haymaker, actually Katie and Kara Haymaker, the Twinjas. I liked them. They had good personality. Katie was on Texas A&M on Team Ninja Warrior, the College Madness. She lost momentum on that pendulum, but made the jump somehow, like just barely made the jump. But she ended up going out on the spinning bridge. But it was a pretty strong run. It wasn't as far as we'd like to see her go, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. And first of all, needed, definitely, because it was short and it covered both of them. So good on that. And yeah, I actually appreciated this run. She did fairly well. She introduced us to a lot of other obstacles, especially in terms of how somebody with a smaller build can handle these obstacles. Yeah, good on her.
Next up, we had Connor Daly, the IndyCar ninja. Kacy helped to train him. They kind of pumped him up quite a bit. He wanted to show that he was the best IndyCar driver, or best ninja IndyCar driver out there, since we had a few of them run the course last year. It didn't quite go as well as he was hoping, and he ended up falling on the floating steps dismount, and all I could think was like, dude, you set yourself up so bad. They are not going to let you ever live that down.
Yeah, like, why are you building yourself up that much for it? But that's what competitive drive is. I do have to respect it somewhat, because you have to set your goals high to get far in life when you're like a top level athlete. I mean, he at least tried. You got to give him props for trying. He isn't used to this sport. Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. He was very humble, and they didn't overplay it, so I was cool with it. With that said, you're right, bro. They're gonna just never let him live it down.
Yeah, exactly. Your buddies, if you start trash talking them and saying, you're going to beat them at something, kind of like saying, like the champ is here type stuff, when you lose, yeah, you're never going to live it down.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, good on him for trying.
Guess who's got 2 teams in the finale? The champ is here.
Don't even start. We're not talking Team Ninja Warrior today. We're just getting the American. You can trash talk me in the Team Ninja Warrior episode.
The champ is here.
All right, so next we had Brandy Monteverde, whose mom died of pancreatic cancer, who told her to be a fit mom, and so they write notes on balloons to her mom every year. This was definitely a very touching story. It was definitely one of the more, it's one of those stories that we just want to see her take the course. It's kind of one of those motivational ones. She ended up going out on the TikTok. I actually thought she was going to do better. Like, she really looks strong in her training videos and stuff. I expected her to go pretty far on the course, but she only made as far as a TikTok, unfortunately.
Yeah, we still need to talk about that vignette, bro. I have to say, it needed to be shortened. It was so long, and it is a very tough vignette to talk about necessarily because of the subject matter, and I really feel for the story that's like portrayed on screen, but it almost went to the point where I was overdoing it. The vignette was so long, and they hampered it in so strongly. The balloons get like undoing the balloons or whatever into the sky and everything. It's touching, but it's almost too much. And it would have been fine if it would have been maybe a minute shorter. So this is why I always bring up the fact where things can be shortened. And this is unfortunately one of the events where it could be shortened. It's a very tough subject matter. I'm not necessarily saying it doesn't need to be there or anything, but they overplayed it way too much.
Heartless. You're a monster, Bijan. How could you possibly...
I am.
Possibly say that. No, I agree. It could be shortened. And like you said, it's tough to bring up because we don't want to criticize. Obviously, the ladies had some tough times and everything. So it's just for an entertainment value, there needs to be a limit. And sometimes they can go a little far. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to see the extremes of it, watch Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge. Oh boy. But yeah, once again, I feel for the family and everything, but it was overplayed just a little too much, guys.
Yeah. But we wish her all the best. Mm-hmm. Moving on, we had Tremayne Dortch. It was great to see him back again. He went out early last year on the salmon ladder. He blamed it. He blamed it on his wife.
How is that guy how is that guy still in that good of shape? I don't get it. Like, at what point is age going to catch up to this guy? This guy is like an action figure every year. It's insane. Does this guy like not eat anything but kale and grilled chicken?
Looks that way, definitely.
It really does look that way.
They sculpted him out of marble or something. I don't know. That dude is in ridiculous
insane,
shape.
Dude.
But unfortunately, when he was making a submission video, he injured his MCL and ACL, I believe they said.
Yeah, like, do you know how serious that, like, guys, that is pinnacle, like, serious injuries. Like, he should not be on the course. I was so scared of this guy. If you tear your MCL, do not do anything physical. Oh my God, you're talking about, like, severe, lifelong injuries if you mess it up really bad. I don't know. Good on that guy. I'm really worried. I hope if he makes it through to Vegas, he at least has that time to heal up quite a bit more. I mean, he's running on it to the point where obviously there was some time for him to go through some physical therapy and training and get it a little bit stronger. But still, I don't know, man. That is not some stuff you want to play with.
Yeah, so if he was making a submission video, he would have been running this court. I mean, we had a few months at least, but yeah, that's not a lot. My heart was racing the whole time he was on the course. I just kept waiting for something to go horribly wrong, like the entire time.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it does amp up the stakes. And I guess the one good thing is this is a course that's pretty heavy on the upper body. I mean, it's a course where you're holding up your body a whole lot. It's not a lot of things where you're doing a lot of stuff with your legs. So at least there's that. Yeah, I don't know. Just I can't get over the fact that he's running the torn MCL and ACL. That's insane.
Doing the spinning bridge. I think that was where I was really nervous.
Yeah.
But he ended up going out in the pipe fitter. It was his first time ever failing in the qualifier, but understandably so with the injury he has. But he did make the top 30, so we will get to see him in the city finals.
Yeah, and, you know, Tremayne Dortch is always really strong. I think he can go, like, at least to Vegas. I just really hope his legs, you know, heal up.
Before the jumping spider? Yeah, me too.
Oh gosh. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that could go badly. We've got next Nico Gentry. This was the first. So we've had some emotional stories, some, you know, very touching moments and whatnot, especially the last episode that got a lot of people. I appreciated them. I enjoyed them, if you want to say that. But none of them got me until this guy. This is the first one that I literally teared up at. This guy's legally blind. Couldn't play sports growing up. Got into martial arts, which I don't know why that's an option. Like, getting kicked in the head seems like a pretty big danger to me when you can't see something moving towards you. But it was amazing. Like, I loved his run. I was watching it the whole time. Why he didn't call himself Daredevil, I don't know. But it was just really, really cool, amazing run.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Super much needed. I mean, high level. I loved it. I have to say it's up there with me with it as the same as like the cancer story of last episode. I mean, super touching, both of them. I really like the fact that with this one, his story really draws into his entire run, where you're on the edge of your seat the entire run. And the whole time you're rooting for him. You're also like, how can he see? But at least they explain kind of what his predicament is, where if he's still, he can kind of picture out what's going on. But in movement, he's completely blind. So in a way, he's going off of memory. He pictures the next obstacle and basically has to go through it completely blind. I mean, that's insane. This guy is really amazing. Not just that, I mean, the brilliance of how well he goes through these obstacles with everything going on. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And when you watch the replays, it really shows, like, if there's anybody that's like, oh, well, maybe you can see a little bit. When they show the replays, his head's, like, just forward, like, not even looking at where his arms or feet are moving. This guy has no idea what's going on in terms of, like, his awareness, but at the same time, he does, because he's lived with this his entire life. And as you allude to, Rich, with the mixed martial arts and stuff, there's other senses that he's tapping into to get through these obstacles. And I guess Daredevil's a perfect analogy for it. I mean, this guy's great and brilliant run. I was floored the fact that he was getting through so many obstacles.
Yeah, I want to watch this guy run like every year. Like I don't know that he made it far enough, come to think of it. I don't think he did, or they would have brought it up when they showed the top 30.
I don't know. He made it to the Skyhooks, and that's the big question mark for it,
Yeah.
right? That's the X factor.
That's the cutoff point in there somewhere. So Bijan just checked, and unfortunately, he did make the cutoff because the cutoff was on the pipe fitter, not the Skyhooks, once we double-checked that. So too bad. We really wanted to see him again, and I hope we do next year. I hope they bring him back again because that was awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, this guy's super compelling.
Next to run the course was Jody Avila. This guy. This is the first.
This guy.
Oh my God. I literally yelled when he went up the steps like it was nothing. He guy's 6'6", 215 pounds. Has a 4'11" wife, which is notable as well.
Yeah, we got to talk about that wife, bro. Like she's like the height of like they're. I don't even get it. She is so small next to him. It just makes it all the more perfect. I love them. Like that is a duo team right there.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he should be able to do this course. He looks like he's just a giant. Like I can't even get the words out. The guy is so crazy big. But he beat the course. He beat the whole thing and got Akbar to give him a nickname. And he called him the Big Dog Ninja. What'd you think of the nickname?
I didn't really like it because it's very vanilla. I mean, Akbar calls everybody Big Dog, so it's not anything special, I guess. And when you're looking for a nickname, you're probably looking for something special. I kind of feel like when he got the nickname and he heard that it was Big Dog, he really wasn't all that impressed either. He's like, "Oh, I'll take it," you know. But he did not seem very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to request though. At the same time, I thought it was odd to call out Akbar that way, ask for the nickname.
Yeah, what did you think about his story though? Because I go back and forth. I liked it. Because, like, the story that he's telling of, like, oh, everybody wants me to be a basketball player, but screw them. Like, I'm going to be a ninja warrior and all this stuff. And showing his family. At the same time, it went a little too long. I'm going to say could be shortened, but not by much. But, yeah, I found it compelling. This is definitely one of those needed types of videos where you really become more and more engrossed in, like, this guy and his story and wanting him to do well. And just the way he ran the course, him just getting through some really tough obstacles for people with a lot of weight. I mean, that pipe fitter is not easy on a guy that size. I mean, he got through it. I mean, good on him.
Yeah, he was able to wrap his arms so far around that pipe fitter that it helped him for sure. But like you said, the weight factor is crazy. And he's got to even concern himself with hitting the water on obstacles that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. I mean, insane, dude.
Yeah.
I can't get over how short his wife is, by the way. Like, you've got his, like, 5-year-old kid, and he's almost, like, I think his kid is, like, up to her shoulders. Like,
well, she's like an inch shorter than Barclay Stockett and Kacy Catanzaro. Like, she's that level short.
She just looks all that much shorter next to him. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, because he can just scoop up his whole family and fit them in his back pocket and carry them away.
Pretty much. Like a damn kangaroo, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like we need to give him a better nickname, but I don't have one offhand because the Giants are already taken.
I don't know. What was his job again? He's a technician or electrician or something like that?
Yeah, don't do the job one with him.
Yeah. Everyone, hit us up on Twitter and let us know what you think his nickname could be.
Perfect. All right, next to run the course, we had Charlotte Eccles, who had a brain tumor and had to relearn how to walk. Second story to get me this episode. I swear to God, I was an emotional wreck through this episode. She banged into the TikTok, couldn't get momentum, ended up falling. But as much as this is just one of those stories that you might complain about, Bijan, I don't know, but I got sucked into this one again.
I didn't mind it, man. It was a good story. I really rooted for her. I wish her all the best. Really compelling by the fact that she, got a part of her brain cut out and she was able to relearn how to walk and then excelled. She didn't just oh, I'm good walking and everything. Like, she wanted to go further and further. And her being on American Ninja Warrior, good for her.
Yeah.
I mean, she fell early, but it's whatever. It was a really good story and it wasn't extremely long like the other one that I complained about, so I have no problems with it.
So then we had some fast forwards, including Charles Blacknell, the pirate ninja, who I believe listens to the podcast. Hello, Charles. And David Yarder, who I believe we saw in Team Ninja Warrior, who had gone out on the pipe fitter. Before coming back to Brent Steffensen, the tour guide ninja, apparently.
I don't think he's a tour guide.
No, but it was interesting. I actually liked this. I thought it was a kind of interesting segment where he gets to show off his home city.
That's what I was going to say, man. Not just that. I'm so happy the fact that he gets a vignette and it's his storyline, finally. It's been a few years where it's just been Brent Steffensen and Kacy Catanzaro and their story and their dynamic. Finally, we get a story specifically about Brent, and there's no mention of Kacy. And it's not a Kacy hate or anything, but it's specifically focused on him and what's going on in his life now. And yeah, it's also just a different vibe because Brent is kind of different from Kacy, and he's all about having fun, very chill lifestyle. You know, he always throws up the shakas and stuff, and him just having fun throughout the city and representing his city. I really found it amazing. Much needed vignette. I loved everything about it. In many ways, it's kind of like a rehabilitation for Brent Steffensen, where his storyline for the past few seasons has been like what's going on with him mentally and everything. I mean, this is like a really he's coming full form again. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was a great segment with them. He showed he's still one of the best. I feel bad because he operated at that top level for a while, and all it takes is a little slip up, right? Like you fall down to average, right? He did fine, but if he's average, they're talking about how he needs to make a comeback, and he didn't hit a buzzer last season, but he did manage to hit one in this episode. It was great to see him back. He had a little close call on the pipe fitter, but overall just showed how it's done.
He looks in good spirits. I'm really high up on this guy. I mean, he's had some stumbles last year, but don't forget just how good this guy is, guys. I mean, he was the last guy standing just a few seasons ago.
Yeah, and even more recent than that, he was the fastest on stage one, I want to say 2 seasons ago, because I think he didn't make it through stage 1 last year. So yeah, he still definitely has it now. It's like seeing him run, especially he seems like such a nice guy. And I think you've even seen him in person and said the same thing.
So nice. Yeah, he's one of the most humble, coolest people. And once again, like everybody in ANW is nice, but this guy went out of his way during the LA tapings both times to just go out to the crowd and everybody on the sidelines and just talk to them and meet them, and not like, oh, I'm gonna shake your hand and just have a small thing. Like he really went out of his way to just talk to everybody and really be humble and kind and like just open to everybody, take pictures, spend the entire day there just being genuinely welcoming to everybody in the crowd. And he didn't need to do that, but that's just his personality. Great guy.
All right, and next we had Barclay Stockett, 5-foot gymnast.
Woo!
Wow.
Go Barclay! Holy crap, man. This is a star-making performance, dude. Like, we all know how good she is. We all know. But oh my God, I would have never guessed it would be this level. Her run was so compelling. So compelling, man.
She hit that TikTok so high, I thought she was going to climb up the structure above it.
Right? Like, her laches are so strong that, like, in a way, she could have, like, flown right over the damn thing. And, like, I thought she was going to do a loop doing the laches for that freaking TikTok. She was so high. It was insane, dude. Just goes to show how strong of a competitor she is. And she's so young. I mean, she is going to be very dynamic. And with her size, I mean, in many ways, she parallels a lot of what we've seen with Kacy Catanzaro in previous years. I really think this little ball of fire is going to go very far.
Yeah, I don't think I heard them call her. She's the firecracker, right? Isn't that what they called her?
I think so. I don't know. I just know she's amazing.
Let's scrap that nickname, please. But she was amazing. She did struggle on the rings, but she did end up making it.
I might as well get into it now, man.
Yeah.
Though we saw Kacy Catanzaro and Barclay Stockett really struggle on these rings, and maybe some other competitors, but I'm guessing there's a few people that don't know why. So here's the episode breakdown of one obstacle. with this particular obstacle, you have to grab onto the second ring. And in many cases, people will use that opportunity to swing forward, to kind of like straighten yourself in the swing. Because if you just grab onto the next swing and you go to the side, you're going to go sideways. Does that make sense so far, Rich?
Yep.
Okay, so with somebody with longer arms, you can keep almost an L, and when you let go, you can still go straight because you're not swinging all the way off to the side. However, with somebody with shorter arms, you don't get that opportunity to make that L and go straight. What happens is when you let go, it's almost as if you let go with one arm of anything, and your body's just going to swing to the side, and that's what happened with them. When they let go, they found themselves swinging to the side, and they had to readjust. So it was really hard for them to do. Hope that makes sense.
That is a great observation because I hadn't noticed that, but I know exactly what you're saying. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That explains why they were getting so much sideways momentum.
Yeah, and I felt bad for it because that's tough.
That being said, there was a lot of people that struggled on that obstacle from getting the sideways momentum because it's a hard obstacle.
It's a super hard obstacle. That's why I love it. I mean, there's so much, like, so many people focus on rock climbing and everything. This is an obstacle that's straight up gymnastics, and you have to have really good control of your body. You really have to have strong core strength, upper body, shoulder strength, grip strength. It implements many factors of your body that people don't train on, and I love these creative obstacles. Not just that. How old is the kid that, like, created this obstacle? I mean,
7.
He was like, 7. That's insane. I love everything about this. Good on that kid. Good on ANW for choosing it. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, great obstacle. Very interesting to watch. Definitely high-level skill. Just all around a great obstacle. I don't think it's fair to put the pipe fitter after it, frankly, and that's where Barclay did end up going out. She managed to make the first transition somehow, but that second one, she just couldn't quite make it. Which I don't know how you're supposed to, but she did. Some people
love
did.
it. Get that 1-2 punch, guys. Like, make those obstacles difficult. At the end of the day, I mean, is it any much more difficult than what was that spinning, rotating obstacle that killed off like the 4 horsewomen last year? I mean,
yeah,
that was way harder in my opinion. So I'll take it.
Well, the thing is that both of these obstacles, pipe fitter is hard for somebody with no wingspan, right? Short arms to kill 2 obstacles in a row is a bit much, I think.
Mm-hmm. By the way, one other key is it's hard for people with short wingspans, but people with long arm spans, they're most likely going to be taller and have more weight. And guess what they have to deal with? Holding on to those damn rings after the swing. And those things hit hard. So if in both cases, it's at a detriment. Do you go with having the smaller weight so you can hang on those rings longer, but have the harder time straightening out? Or are you going to have an easier time straightening out, but have a whole lot more weight and have a much bigger chance of letting go of those rings? A really dynamic obstacle. Love it.
Next we had Michael Moore, 59, taking the course and wanted to be
59.
Yeah. Ooh, this guy was inspired by his dad. Great story. I have to say, I kind of zoned out a little bit as he was running because I was like, oh, clearly the way he was going, and they played it up so much, I thought, oh, he's going to hit the buzzer. So I was kind of not paying attention.
You thought I was going to hit the buzzer?
I did. I thought he had the buzzer. I really did. Once I saw how strong he was, I thought, oh, this guy's going to hit the buzzer. That's awesome. He's going to beat out John Stewart for the oldest competitor. And then I missed. Actually, was not even looking at the screen when he fell, unfortunately, on the skyhooks, right? Yeah, skyhooks.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, his vignette it's in that can be shortened range, but almost going towards that point of not needed. I don't necessarily think we needed his story being anywhere close to that long. It's not fair to say it's not needed, but definitely could have been much, much shorter than it was. And I found his run compelling enough. Like, his story's already there. He's 59 years old. He's running a compelling, like, race. He doesn't need all that backstory about his father and everything. I appreciate it, but doesn't need to be.
That's actually a really good point, because his hook, his thing that's going to make you watch is the fact that he's 59 years old. I don't know that we really need to see his dad to be compelled.
Yeah, and his family's there. He's got a beautiful family. Like, this run was all about his family. So, yeah, with that said, his run, fantastic. A+. Loved it. this guy showed a lot of grit and a lot of heart for that age. I mean, just think, like, it's hard to describe because this guy is 59, but he doesn't look it. Just remember, guys, 59 years old. How many 59-year-olds do you know that can do even half this stuff?
I know a 41-year-old that has no hope of doing the stuff that he just did.
I know a 28-year-old that probably be like, nope.
So, yeah, great run by him. But, yeah, I agree. The V-neck definitely could have been shortened or cut. Mm-hmm. Next, we had Josh Salinas. This guy was a nice surprise. They called him Iron Josh, trainer at Iron Sports. He trains kids there. He had no father growing up, which tied in with the fact that he trains kids now. He had just a picture-perfect run, really.
I loved it. First of all, this guy, I feel like we're getting a new growth. Like, we always talk about it, or at least I do, but he's one of those new up-and-coming new generation of ninjas. This guy trains at a ninja gym, actually, like, as a trainer at a ninja gym, I should say. Kind of like Thomas Stillings, Daniel Gill, all of those guys. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, he's another apprentice, I guess you could say, of Sam Sands. So Sam Sands just finding all these, like, top-level ninjas, man. This guy is absolutely fantastic, picture-perfect run. This guy is very, very comfortable and technical. I really like his presence. This guy very much has star power in the making. He's got the looks and everything, but he has something about presence and charisma with him, and that cannot be understated enough. I really, really like what I'm seeing from this guy. Yeah, good stuff. This guy is fantastic, and he can do some damage. He's a early front runner, in my opinion. I know Thomas Stillings had Rookie of the Year in the last episode, but this guy can be Rookie of the Year. I can see it happening. Yeah, just I need to know what's going on with Sam Sand. This dude's just finding the top ninjas, dude.
And there's something about his run. There's a level of comfort and ease that he does it at that is like, this is a guy to watch. We will be seeing more of him for sure.
Every time we talk about one of these ninjas, whether it's Najee, whether it's Thomas Stillings last season, Daniel Gill, or just every time, it's like, wow. Like, it's breathtaking to watch this stuff. And then you hear their age, and you're just like, how? How?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel separates the best from the middle of the road. Like, there's lots of good ninjas out there, and lots of people take this course that can do the obstacles, but it feels like there's just this big gap between the ones that can do it and the ones that can do it and make it look easy. And this guy seems to be in that second category.
Fantastic point. Couldn't say it better myself, man. Exactly.
And speaking of those that make it look easy, I was a little torn. Not torn at all. You know what? Come to think of it, not torn at all. I was a little angry that Thomas Stillings got fast-forwarded. I really wanted to see this squaring off between him and Daniel again, and we got kind of a shortened version of it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Thomas Stillings is fast-forwarded. He was one of the top ninjas last season. I don't get it.
They must have felt like they overplayed it. I don't know. Why wouldn't you do that again? Especially since they did kind of play to it. They just didn't show Thomas's run. They fast-forwarded it. They said that he had the fastest time despite stopping to wave hi to them along the way.
You can almost see like they were annoyed by it because they made it a point. He stopped to say hi, like, and it's like, who cares? He's like, Thomas Stillings is making it fun. He's charismatic and he's showing to the crowd. He's playing to the crowd. That's what you want. You want a fun showing. And the dude still like made, I believe, the fastest or the second fastest run of the night. So I don't get it. Like, good on him. At least we know we're going to see more of him. I have to ask you, Rich, short-haired Tom Stillings, what do you think? Because, oh boy, I feel like this shows off how young he is on this with his haircut. I don't know why. With the longer hair, he didn't really look that young. With the shorter hair, I'm like, oh my God, he's a kid. He's a little kid.
You're both kids. Like, really?
I mean, damn, Tom, like, hey, that short hair, though, it works for him in terms of presence. I have to imagine that long hair, not fun to deal with in that Texas heat. But yeah, just it hit me just how young he was when he cut his hair. I'm like,
That's
whoa.
Funny. I didn't really notice, to be honest. I don't follow that kind of thing. It must be kind of funny, like, to feel, like, can you imagine the uproar if Daniel Gill cut his hair?
That would be part of me would be hurt.
But they must all kind of feel like that you have your image. It's kind of cemented in people's minds. And any alteration you make, if Joe Moravsky decided to grow out a goatee, it would be noted. It would be like a huge, for whatever reason, it just would be jarring.
That's a good point. I mean, I always remember back to when they show Kevin Bull before he had alopecia, and you see him with hair, and it just looks like a completely different person. And not necessarily because of that, but more so because his image is just so ingrained into your mind of what he looks like, right? So when you see any deterrence, it's kind of jarring. So that's a good point. The good news is that with Thomas Stillings, he is still new to the sport enough, or at least in terms of like the minds and hearts of people, where he can get away with shorter hair. And if this wants to be his image for going forward, I mean, that's fine. At the end of the day, his image really is the genie pants. It's not necessarily the hair.
Yeah. Speaking of them having iconic images, I feel like now's a good time to mention it. Or in the middle of the episode rather than at the end. So I've put together a quiz based on everyone's knowledge of the ninjas and their images, and it's basically like silhouettes and simple colors, and to see if everyone can actually recognize the ninjas without having facial features to go by, just by poses. And it's been a lot of fun. I've had a few people beta test it, and I think I'm going to kick it off this week.
Yeah, it's basically it's a BuzzFeed quiz if anybody wants to know like what it is, but it's very fun. As Rich was alluded to, it's not as easy as you may think it is. Very fun stuff. If you think you're an expert at Ninja Warrior, give it a try.
Yeah, and I'm also going to put out a poll, a Twitter poll, to find out who the next one you think should be added. So from this episode, I will put 4 male ninjas and 4 female ninjas, and you can vote on for which ones you think should be added next.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next, tying into Thomas's run, they showed Daniel Gill. They hit a little vignette on him getting married. Yeah, it was kind of hit or miss. I don't know why.
It was fine.
It was okay.
Do you think it was Middle Road could be shortened? Is that what you're saying?
I could have done without it, to be honest. I felt it was a little forced.
Oh, you're saying not needed.
Yeah, I'm going not needed.
Ooh, I love it. Getting harsh over there. I'll say it could be shortened, but I am leaning more towards the not needed. But I'll say shortened because Daniel Gill still is somebody that a lot of people want to see. And even though his story wasn't that compelling of, oh, yeah, go shopping with my wife and all this stuff, it was cool to see the wedding photos and all the ninjas there. So I think that could have been there. But I don't necessarily think we needed all of that stuff with, here's me shopping with my wife and all that stuff.
And him throwing donuts in the cart. He doesn't throw donuts in the cart. Don't give me that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, come on. No. I refuse to believe it. Isn't this the guy that ate the, what was it, avocado and banana sandwich or whatever that thing was?
Oh, that was Jamie Ron, I think.
Was that Jamie Ron? I thought it was Daniel Gill.
I'm pretty
sure it was Daniel Gill.
I don't know. I'd have to look back on my Instagram. I actually did it myself to.
Pretty sure it was Daniel Gill.
It's possible.
Almost positive with the finger workout thingy too. And yeah, this guy is a guy eating donuts. Come on, get out of here.
Yeah,
Look at that
I don't
hair.
believe it.
This is a guy. This is a guy that's very much beholden to having a strict everything. Like you don't get hair like that doing cheat days.
And pizza has not touched that body in a very long time.
Nope.
But he had a great run, of course. He ended up beating Thomas by about 2 seconds. Gets the Palm Wonderful run of the night, which I was happy to have it out of the way.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been perfect to have these 2 runs go back and back to back?
Yeah, finish the episode with these 2.
Yeah, it would have amped up Daniel Gill's run that much more with him beating Thomas Stillings by 2 seconds. I mean, there were a lot of vignettes that could have been shortened this episode, and you could have brought in at least 2 particular runs, and we'll get to the other one later. But yeah.
Oh, and give Nico Gentry the damn Palm Wonderful. What do you mean giving Daniel the Palm Wonderful getting fastest time? The guy ran the course blind. Why do you
care about the Palm? I could not care less about the Palm.
I care about Palm. I care about Palm. Stupid thing.
Whatever. They gave out Palm Wonderful to the crowd, and that stuff is fantastically tasting. That is some good stuff.
It's all right.
Hey, Palm, if you ever want to sponsor us, send me some Palm.
Sure, I'll write to Palm. That would be, as long as they don't listen to the episodes, they might actually do it. Yeah.
Listen to one of these episodes, like, nope.
So then we had a couple more fast forwards after that, including, a little guy named Nicholas Coolridge. Oh,
It's
why?
fine.
Why? Poor Nicholas. Yeah, in this case, I don't know. It was fine. They gave him a little snippet of time, and I don't know. I didn't really think they needed to show him in San Antonio. Frankly, it was whatever. Hello?
It's all fine.
It sounds like you're banging your head on the microphone.
I just did it. Well, not on the mic, but anyways. It's fine.
No,
We're going to move on before I lose my mind.
Well, they need to feature him bigger at the city finals.
Will they?
In Vegas?
Let's do it. Let's do it over and under for real, bro. Let's get figure this out. Nicholas Coolridge is going to make it. He's definitely making it to Vegas. I have just all the confidence in the world that he's making it to Vegas. How much airtime is he going to get before we see him in Vegas?
Probably not much, but to be fair, they'll have to show him on stage 3 and 4.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hold you to that. Everybody, keep that sound clip of Rich saying that. We'll see. What we'll do is we'll make it to the end of the season, and they'll be like, oh, and fast forwarding, here's Nicholas Coolridge going up the warped wall and hitting the buzzer. See you next season.
Maybe.
Get out of here.
We'll see. I was just glad he finished. No major slip-ups. I was very happy for that because he is my backbone of my ANW fantasy team. Thomas Stillings beating the course. That was a relief, too. So that's 2. Everybody so far, I'm looking good.
Same here, man. All my picks. Still, though, Nicholas Coolridge being skipped and Thomas Stillings, shame.
So they did fast forward the guy that proposed to Max Soria. Congratulations, Max. She said yes.
Congrats. Yeah. That was cool. They kept it short, and at least they highlighted that particular thing. That's a big moment in their lives. Yeah. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I'm glad. That would suck. He did that, and then they didn't even show it, so I'm glad they gave him that at least.
Yeah.
Next, Kacy Catanzaro. She's apparently been on Ninja a few times in the past. May have hit some milestones along the way. Mm-hmm. They focused on her mom.
May have the ire of the entire internet for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know how much I want to get into that because triggered. This is my trigger. I swear to God, every time Kacy comes up on the internet, I want to reach the freaking wires and choke someone out. Okay, brief aside. Go look at what people say on Facebook posts when her name comes up. They post a nice little interview with her for ANW9, and people can't just leave her alone. I don't get it. I don't get the hate.
I don't either, man. And it's unwarranted because when you look at her run, the sheer will, the heart that she displays, and her overcoming all of the obstacles in her way, and with the added pressure of what everybody expects of her, I really, really admire her. And all this hate that she gets, it's really just whatever. It makes me really judge the people throwing the hate much more than her. The last 2 seasons, she had some slip-ups, but every time she fell, you saw how emotionally it took on her, you know? And she still came back. That's the thing, guys. She still came back. And she still came here strong, confident, and destroyed a lot of this course. I mean, big ups to her. Many other people would have just been, I'm done. I've done it. I've gone so far. I've done so much in this sport, and I get so much hate. Screw it. I'm done. She doesn't. She's still there, just kicking butt. She goes to every single taping, interacts with the fans, very kind, does all the interviews that they ask of her. If you're a hater, whatever. Screw you, honestly.
Yeah, if you want to hate, if you want to hate on the production, I get that. I get that they overplay her. I totally do get that. There's times where I'm like, okay, do we really need to see Kacy right now? It doesn't make sense sometimes. Totally get that part of it. But she just shows up, competes, does what she's supposed to do, and does her best. What do you want? She got, in this episode, she did great. She ended up falling on the sky hooks eventually. She had a great run. She got second. The only woman that went further than her was Barclay Stockett. She did fantastic against 21 women that ran the course. She got second, and the hate still flows. How?
I don't get it. As you said, man, second out of 21 women that ran that course. Good on her. Not just that, I just counted right now. She was on those sky hooks dangling for 57 seconds. 57, almost a minute. And she was holding on for her dear life. And it's not just like holding on. She had to, with that time frame, she also had to swing and slam that ring holding on, where she's just sapping all of her upper body and her grip strength. But she still held on. And that says a lot about the heart that she displays on this course. Say whatever you want about the production, but you can never knock the heart that she displays. Good on her.
Yes, 100%, 112%. After her, we had a few fast forwards of some ninjas we've seen before, some of our favorites. Nate Burkhalter ended up going out in the pipe fitter, but far enough, fast enough to make it through to the finals. We also saw Karsten Williams beat the course. His mom was there again. Karsten's amazing. A little disappointed he was fast forwarded, but I feel like it makes
we'll see him.
Yeah, we'll get to see him again.
Yeah, it's fine.
Abel Gonzalez. There's a lot of good ninjas in this region. His mom was there too for the first time, I guess, and he beat the course. So, yeah, a couple of the big fan favorites made it through. It was good.
Yeah, I'm happy. Abel still needs a new catchphrase.
We are all able.
I hate it. It's so bad.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's so bad. Hey, at least it's not Invincibles.
Yes. That needs to go. The we are all able. That's kind of cool. Not cool, but it's all right.
It's not.
So, last run of the night, we had Jonathan Horton, the 5'1" gymnast, popped his shoulder on the pommel horse before the Rio Olympics. That must suck. And I feel like brutal. That every athlete on these shows that gets injured. I don't watch normal sports. This is my sport. This is what I watch. So I can only imagine when you pour your heart into something like this and you train so hard, and to have an injury come up and stop you from completing your goals. That just must be the worst feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Olympics. This guy must have been training his entire life at the very, very top level. And for him to be so close to his goal and it just completely torn away from him, figuratively and I guess literally, I mean, that's really rough and such a great story. This is a much, much needed story, first of all. Just everything about it, where in many ways he's kind of like going through the hero's journey. Now I think about it, if you want me to put my English major skills to test. Yeah, I mean, everything about it. It's got the ups and downs. He goes through this huge slump of depression, but American Ninja Warrior boosts him back up. And I love how at the end he said that on American Ninja Warrior, he has a new gold medal to strive for. You know, that's really awesome to hear. And we've seen a lot of top level athletes from other sports dip their toes into the sport of ANW or obstacle course, whatever, in ANW and try it out. But this is, I think, a little bit more where this guy's really like putting his all into ANW. You can see him really, really training hard, where he's not taking this lightly. He's giving it his all. And I really, really respect that. And in many ways, I feel like the show is also respecting the time that he's putting into it as well. And this guy's got all the tools to go really, really far. I mean, we don't see a lot of people with his build on the show, so he's going to give us a unique perspective in tackling a lot of obstacles. And I'm really excited to see him.
Yeah, we had seen him a couple of seasons ago, and he had hit the buzzer then. So, but this was his first time on.
It was not the same though, man. This is next level.
Yeah, he seems much more comfortable. I feel like he put a lot more into it, like you said. I think this is going to be his focus now. That seemed to be what they were implying, that, you know what, the gymnastics career is behind him, and it's all about ninja now. So it'd be really interesting to see how he can do.
Yeah, and we've seen gymnasts go very, very far on this show. I mean, Travis Rosen is still one of the top-level athletes, and he comes from a deep gymnastics background. And if we're talking about somebody like Travis Rosen, but younger and maybe smaller, this guy's got some promise.
Yep, so that was the last run of the night. So looking at the top 30, there were a couple of other names in there that didn't get mentioned, didn't even get mentioned in fast forwards. We saw Kevin Klein, who we've seen on Team Ninja Warrior, made it through to the finals. And we saw good old Andy Lowe's was in there. Nicholas Coolridge still gets the fast forwards at least. You got to give him that.
Poor Andrew Lowe's. Yeah, I'm here like losing my mind over Nicholas Coolridge. Andrew Lowe's doesn't even get any love on this show. Brutal.
Outside of the top 30, we also had the top 5 women, which is a rule that is driving some people absolutely crazy, especially me, and trying to defend it. And I'm not going to go into it too deep right now, but I will say that Barclay got first place among the women, 30th place overall, so she would have qualified regardless. Kacy was in second, and there were a few more women to round out the top 5. There are some sideways glances going on because 5th place only made it as far as the TikTok, so only made it as far as like the second obstacle.
You know what? You can if you're really gonna hate about that, I mean, just remember that it's not all 5 that are gonna go to the Vegas finals. Like, this is just the 5 women that get a chance to compete again in the finals to get to Vegas. So whatever.
Yes.
You're gonna give a sideways hate. I mean, whatever.
Right. So if she falls on the TikTok again, she's not going to Vegas. It's just not happening.
Yeah. I mean, just remember, you can complain about this or you can complain about the wild card. You don't get both. And I very, very much prefer this because it's earned.
This is replacing the wild card. Shorthand for all this is that Vegas is still the same. This doesn't change Vegas in any way, shape, or form. It is just making sure that the strongest women go to Vegas, and there's at least 10. 12, actually, because there's 6 qualifiers. So at least 12 women will be running in Vegas. So if you would rather that we have 3 women in Vegas or that the wild cards are still in place, that's your only real 2 reasons for not liking this new system.
Moving on.
And if I can get the time, I'm putting together a video and explaining why these rules are awesome and they're 10 times better than the stupid wildcard system. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Have you found it interesting? There really hasn't been much cross-promotion about Team Ninja Warrior on ANW. That's really shocking to me.
Not much.
Like, nobody's mentioning any of these competitors making it into the finale of Team Ninja Warrior. And maybe that's due to, like, the time where they aired it. Like, they didn't know when Team Ninja Warrior finale would be on or blah, blah, blah. But at least they can just say, hey, this guy's on Team Ninja Warrior, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no references to it at all. And I just find that, like, really, like, almost absurd at this point.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, aren't they sister networks? Aren't they, like, on the same team or something? I'm confused.
They're all on the same team. They're on the same show. They're all the same people. I don't get it. I mean, they're promoting the living daylights out of Spartan. They're not even touching Team Ninja Warrior.
But that's the thing. Spartan is on the same network. That's the thing. Like, I'm saying USA Network versus NBC.
It's the same thing, dude.
You would think, but apparently not.
It's all owned by NBC Universal.
All right, so that is it for this episode. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It helps us out a whole bunch. Make sure to spread the word with your friends that are watching American Ninja Warrior as well. This is the time to get everybody on board. Check out the podcast. We'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
All right, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace, y'all, and don't you dare ever skip Nicholas Coolridge again. Shame!